Level test, and I need to swap my seat.
Oh no, you're all squeaky.
The big squeaky. Squeak. All right, much better.
You're shorter now.
I know. That's kind of the thing, and then I got to adjust the mic because I'm a short guy. All right, so that looks good for me. How's it look for Brad?
I don't know, Kevin. Why don't you tell me? Or not tell me, or should I talk more? Or less? Or more?
Yeah, keep talking a little bit more.
Okay. So, how are you doing today? I'm doing fine.
Not bad. Actually woke up somewhat early for myself. Could always get up earlier. That's one thing I'm trying to do a little bit more, but man, it's so tough.
It's hard. I'm not a morning person anymore. I used to be.
My sleep schedule's still thrown off from last Saturday, I guess I should say. Because that's when I went to bed, was last Saturday morning.
Yeah.
So my sleep schedule's still kind of out of whack. It's weird. I don't like it. Don't like it at all. Oh, that's nice and loud. Guess it's a good thing that's not how I always talk. But it gives me a good reference point. All right.
Good? Possibly? Maybe?
Yep. Everything looks like it checks out. Everything looks like it checks out.
Check 1, 2.
And close email because I don't need no beeps, no nothing.
I'm going to mute this just in case.
It was a professional wrestler, just in case.
Huh.
Episode 155.
Goodness.
It flies, it flies.
Oh, about a year from now, we'll be at 200.
Yeah? Yeah, somewhere in probably November, I would presume.
Mm-hmm.
If we keep the current schedule going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, it goes so fast when you're having fun and you're just talking about technology and all this good stuff. And just by the way, folks, you are listening to episode 155 of the Tech Informist. Doing a little bit different intro. Just going to have a little bit of fun. So, don't need to be so serious.
Why so serious?
I've been doing that a lot more whenever my wife, Jamie, will say something and like, why so serious? It seems like it's becoming more and more relevant, especially with all the stuff that's in the news.
Oh, yeah.
Trumpisms and all this other fake outrage and ridiculous, oh, I'm so outraged and blah, blah, blah. It's like, stop it. Stop it.
Well, that's why I've kind of turned to comedy more. Because I feel that, I mean, in the time of, like, when life is just terrible.
Yeah, it's the only thing you can fall back on is laughter.
Yeah, and I try to make people laugh more than I have in the past, and I try to just be goofy and at my own expense, even if need be, because at the end of the day, like, sometimes that's all you got, and it's just kind of nice.
Yeah, I guess that's probably why a lot of people don't take me serious, because just lighten up. I mean, yeah, it's not quite the whole proverbial stick your head in the sand and ignore all of the world's problems, but if you sit and dwell on it, you're going to be miserable.
Yeah.
And, I mean, because everybody, and I admire the people that have the life where they've got the time to be really involved in being like an activist or be able to protest and this and that. And what are you doing on the computer over there, sir?
It's telling me to restart, Kevin.
Oh, Windows. I love it.
I told it to go away, and it did. So
yeah, it'll go away for like 5 minutes. That's okay. But I'm like, I'm too busy trying to get work done to like get really involved in things that I completely support. It's not that I don't support it and all, and I just don't. I can't fit that. Maybe it's a priority thing that I'm like,
perhaps.
I've got work to get done, and clients like pay money for me to get this work done, and I don't think they're going to like me going and just spending hours supporting this cause just because I don't want to get their project done.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret that like I'm a big, activist when it comes to
green
and global warming and all that fancy jazz, but not to beat anybody over the head with it. But
which is important.
To me, it's extremely important because And Neil deGrasse Tyson made this like a very interesting point that I wish we would question more. But when you look at Washington, like all you see is lawmaker, 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 businessman, lawmaker, lawmaker. Where are the scientists? Where are the engineers? Where are the people who tell us the facts instead of spin a web of lies, as it were, right, because they have enough money to do so?
Right. Where are the people that actually know what they're talking about, not just salesmen?
Yeah, and that's the part of our political system that
Drain the swamp.
Yeah, hashtag adding gators. Just saying, but she's not in office yet, so I'm reserving judgment.
Well, we only got about a month or so.
I'm being blindly optimistic, but that's fine.
Hey. I mean, what else do you expect from a WWE Hall of Famer than to appoint Linda McMahon to a position on his cabinet or whatever role that she's in, something to do with small business? I'm like, okay.
Again, I'm reserving judgment.
Two people that have been stone cold stunnered are now going to Washington.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. It's like a real life version of WWE. And then, hey, Donald Trump's replacement on The Apprentice is Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's going to be a heck of a trip.
Oh, goodness. I can't wait.
So anyway, guys, this, like mentioned, the opening episode 155 of the Tech Informist. My name's Kevin Harvell. If you've never listened to the show and you're listening to it for the first time, and the other voice that you will hear on here is Brad Whiteside. So glad to have you along on this fun episode, this cold December day in St. Louis, Missouri, center of the United States.
Gateway to the West, as they like to say.
Oh, yeah, that's our big claim to fame.
It's our only claim to fame.
That's true.
Other than, like, baseball and beer, but...
Yeah, especially beer.
Oh, yeah.
That's where we got it good. So we're going to kick this thing off with our main discussion topic, and last night we had our St. Louis Podcasters meetup hosted here at the Tech Artista co-working facility that the studio that I record the show in is here. It's here. I've been here for almost a year. So we had this podcast meetup last night, and I guess we had about 8, 9 people, maybe 10. I didn't really do a final count because a couple of people kind of walked in a little bit later.
Yeah, it was kind of come and go kind of thing a little bit, which is fine. I mean, I'm sure the stuff they got at the beginning is enough to give them perspective like, oh, maybe this is for me or maybe this isn't for me. And I think it really boils down to like kind of what Mike was talking about at the beginning. Like, if you're doing this to get famous or for a bunch of likes or views, you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yes, you've got to be passionate about the topic that you want to do your show about. If that does come across enough to enough people and they spread it to enough people, then yeah, you can make some money doing this.
But again, you have to be passionate.
Exactly.
You have to have a reason, or as Mike would call it, a plan or a meat topic of something that you want to sort of convey or discuss. And you can't just rely on the full social media effect to pull you through, because at the end of the day, like, those likes aren't going to get you through editing. It's going to be your passion for your material.
Right. Because, I mean, there are probably some of you that have followed me in particular, because I've kind of been here the longest. I started this with JJ Hammond back on STL Tech Talk, and this is kind of like one of the original formats, even though this has evolved over the last 2 years. But this kind of spun out of STL Tech Talk, which started out as consumer-focused technology. And then we kind of gravitated towards St. Louis-focused things, so that's where we spun Tech Informist off to kind of what it is today. And again, it's continued to evolve to this point. But some of you know, I mean, it's just we love consumer technology and devices and games and stuff like that. So it's just stuff that I'm passionate about, and I know you're passionate about, and you've got a lot more passion about some things than I do, and I'm kind of the same way that I got things I'm more passionate about than you are. But
yeah, and it brings those perspectives into,
Exactly.
focus. So
because yes, tech podcasts are a dime a dozen, but we each have our own perspective on the news that's coming out. My perspective, your perspective, is a lot different than what
people on the East or West Coast would be, to be honest.
Than something you're going to hear on a Twit Network show or Tom Merritt's Daily Tech News show. There's all sorts of different tech podcasts out there that are great in their own right and are very popular and heavily supported by listeners. And
some of my favorite podcasting is with, Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo and, and Andrew Zarian from
What's the Tech?
What the Tech.
And Matt Man.
Yeah.
He's got a whole podcasting network there in New York that he does with Paul and a whole number of other people. But we do this stuff because we love it, and we appreciate when you do listen. If people stop listening, I'm still going to sleep at night.
Yeah.
I would love to keep everybody along and have everybody just tell their friends, hey, you guys really should give this Tech Informist show a listen and just see.
Well, Mike was making the point, he was going around the room like, why do you do it? Why do you do it? He got to me, and I sort of answered for both of us for half of it.
Yeah,
and it was like,
exactly.
I need an outlet, otherwise I'm going to drive my wife insane telling her all this tech news that she doesn't give a crap about.
Right, even though she sells smartphones.
Well, right.
And smartphone accessories.
Right. And occasionally I'll tell her something that interests her, but that's only when I know it's going to interest her.
Yeah, and I would think something that interests her or something that might be relevant for her to share with potential customers.
Right.
Because she can relay that information. Be like, hey, did you know that we're actually going to get this new phone? If you can wait like another week, we got a really kick-ass new phone coming that you might really be interested in. So it's just little things like that. So it was fun. I had a great meetup. Mike did a bang-up job. So Mike Wilkerson runs the Two Guys Talking podcast network. And I would imagine that there's a lot of people that listen to this show would be very interested in a lot of his perspective reviews of different shows of movies like Avengers and Back to the Future and Ghostbusters and Predator and
Jurassic Park, I think.
Yeah, Jurassic Park. And then they did Dexter podcast. Did one on True Blood. They were like
24.
Yeah, they were like the official podcast for the 24 show. If you went to fox.com/something/something/something, it took you to his podcast. And
that's pretty cool.
That's really damn cool. So, yeah. So, twoguystalking.com.
Which is the studio we're also in.
Yeah. So, this is now, as my business has evolved, it's now Two Guys Talking Podcast Studio East. Because they are in St. Charles, which is west of St. Louis. So we made this the East location. And I kind of manage this studio, and it's fun. It was nice to have a lot of people that are kind of new to podcasting because they had a lot of great questions. And
very good questions. Very new, you could tell.
Yeah.
But I mean that in a good way because, you can see Mike's eyes light up when someone's new and interested. Like the one guy that was with us, I'm bad at names, so I'm sorry. But he'd recorded 10 episodes and still hasn't put out any of them yet.
Yeah.
Because he's still trying to get a feel for it and still understanding and editing and figuring out, what are we doing here? And I think at one point we came across, cursing, using the F-bomb or anything like that.
Right.
Occasionally, I don't see that for me. Occasionally, it's not an issue, because we don't. It's not an every other word thing. It's to get the point across that we really don't like something, and I mean really.
Yeah, this show will never be something that FCC would want to kick off the radio waves.
No, and I like to think that I have a more colorful vocabulary than just the F-bomb when I really don't like something.
Curse word,
so
every other word.
That's part of the reason why I don't really use that too often. But sometimes I just get frustrated and it just comes out.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like they say with teenagers growing up, you have your when I'm with my parents vocabulary, and then I've got when I'm with my buds, my pals, we can drop this, drop that, and talk stupid. But when you go back home, it's like, yeah, you need to ship up.
A little filter.
Yeah, you need to put that filter on. So let's talk about some technology because, again, it's not just about podcasting. It's about technology, which, like you mentioned, that's what the show's all about. Fitbit has apparently bought Pebble's smarts, but not their products. And this is something that you put in here.
Well, I put like all of them in here, but
we
can walk through it.
I put a couple things in there just because of the way the week's been going.
So, I mean, I find this so fascinating, and this is like all facets of like life right now. Like the little guys are getting bought up by the big guys again, and we're gonna get to a point to where we're gonna have to break up the big guys because they're too big again. I mean, that happened with the telecom industry way back in the day, and after the World War, they had to break up like companies within the Axis powers, like Mitsubishi got broken up into 3 companies because they were too big, and so on and so on. But I digress. Pebble is getting bought. The specifics of Pebble is not the devices, though. It's more of the software, from what I understand.
Yeah, it's like the people. And they just want their talent, and they don't really want their hardware.
Well, because Fitbit already has their hardware, and they're not terrible.
No. I mean, whenever you look at Fitbit hardware as opposed to Pebble hardware, I mean, Pebble hardware was nice looking, but...
And it supported Windows Phone.
Well, Pebble didn't.
Pebble didn't? Really?
I don't think Pebble ever did.
Huh, okay. Well,
which was one of the big things. It's like the people of Pebble and the guy from Snapchat are like the two crosshairs.
Oh, man. Then am I
Windows
thinking
Phone
Fitbit supported Windows Phone?
Or Fitbit did.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I got it mixed up. I apologize.
It happens. So the acquisition will enable it to bring new products to market quicker and improve those that it already sells. With Pebble's help, it also intends to develop customized products and third-party apps for corporate customers and researchers. So up to 40% of Pebble employees will be given the opportunity to work with Fitbit. So interesting. So, I mean, Pebble was like a Kickstarter darling, we'll say, because they had a lot of successful funding raises to raise a lot of money.
Well, and when they came out, they were relatively unique. Mm-hmm. And they had a nice focused design that they have since carried over and up till now.
A nice design, affordable. I would say affordable hardware.
Absolutely affordable. And great battery life because of the design.
Exactly, yes.
And that was kind of the big seller, I would say, for a lot of people.
Right. Because you don't have to charge a Pebble every night like you got to do an Apple Watch or a Band or most Fitbits, or the Samsung Gears.
I'm kind of... Right now, I'm in the camp of I think I'm going to wait on wearables for a little while. I'm just not feeling it. I don't know. I still have my Microsoft Band, my original one, and I could just pull out and use it if I wanted to. But I just kind of I don't know. I don't.
Yeah. I mean, as you see, I don't really wear my Band 2 at the moment, and I guess there's not much reason to moving forward because yesterday when I went to our local Microsoft store for an event, learn more about the Surface Studio, which is actually pretty cool.
Oh my God, it's gorgeous.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
I was showing my wife, and she's like, "This is amazing." And then I pointed to the price tag, and she's like, "Oh my God,
it's not quite that amazing." Yeah, because
can you imagine editing on that?
See, I don't know if I'd really want to do audio editing on that.
Oh, I think I would.
I mean, I would love it for the display.
The display, like getting in on there, like with the 20% or 20 grade, like what do they call it? 20% grade? I don't know.
Like the incline. Whatever. I don't know. It was really cool. It's just a nice thing. But anyway, one of the people there that has worked there since our Microsoft store opened said they got an email from Microsoft that day that said Band 2 is officially end of life. So otherwise, I mean, obviously, production done. Updates, I don't know if that is completely shut down yet or not because that's kind of
they'll phase it.
Eventually it's going to stop getting updates.
Right. I mean, they'll phase it to a point to where they feel it's strong enough to go on for maybe another year or two, maybe, because they're not going to waste their time. Like, they have bigger fish to fry, which, heck, we can get right into, really.
Yeah, and just kind of reportedly that if you need to get a Band 2 exchanged because of a warranty issue or something like that, if you still got warranty, they will, if they've got stock on hand, they'll swap it out.
Right.
If they don't have stock on hand, you can get a full refund if you are still within your original warranty. If you're out of warranty but you've got complete care, or whatever the extended warranty was called, you'll get full refund minus the deductible, which $30 or $50, whatever it is. And then I guess you can just use that to walk over to the shelf and get you a Fitbit or whatever it is. That
put money towards a new device of some kind. I mean.
Or whatever you want to do. So anyway, if you get a Band 2 and there's any kind of issue, and would you like to get it exchanged, check with your store to see if they've got your size in stock, because our St. Louis store only has the mediums in stock. And, I think I can't remember if I got a medium or a large.
I think originally I was a large, but
I think I was able to go down to a medium this time.
Exactly,
around. I think. I can't remember.
I've got big hands and tiny wrists. I'm weird.
So anyway, that's kind of the latest news on the Band 2, which is a bummer because it's a beautiful device. Just had a couple little glitches.
Yeah. I guess we'll see what happens.
I guess so. Game Awards audience up 65%.
Yeah, this is kind of a big deal. Like, last year was a pretty big year for them. And this year they improved everything by, again, 65%. There was 3.8 million live streams of the Game Awards this year, as opposed to, let's see, up from 2.3 million the year before and 1.9 million the year before that. So every year it's been jumping by
significantly.
Yeah, quite a bit, especially this year. And that's great. I love that. Like, I'm a huge gamer. It's no secret, really. I'm wearing an Xbox shirt as we sit here.
Xbox?
Yeah, go figure. Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation, anything. If it's a game, I'm for it. Like, I don't like that whole console wars thing, although it makes it for a good book. But a game is a game is a game. Like, pick the console you like and maybe your friends will play with you, maybe they won't. Like, I maybe you can have both or all of them. Yeah. Like, I don't know, but it definitely goes to show that games have grown up and people actually care that they've grown up and that they are becoming more of a solid medium the way movies and music has been for years. And I want to see that continue to grow. Like, in all facets, like not just console games, like PC, mobile, anything that is a digital game, even if it's a, in quotations, walking simulator. There are like people that really like those little 2 or 3 hour campaigns or whatever, and that's all that has to offer. But that experience alone can change your perspective on the world. And it sounds funny to say that just because it's a game, maybe, but that's kind of how I feel about games. Like, they really can change your perspective.
Yeah, and without playing really for a couple years, like really sitting down and playing a couple hours at a time, just by playing, Titanfall 1 and now Titanfall 2 and getting the Xbox One. I'm sitting there at the Microsoft store yesterday during this little event. The guys give it a presentation, and I'm just sitting there thinking, man, I would really like to play some Titanfall right now. Because before that, I'd went over and was like holding some of the newer controllers and like, I just want to go play right now. But I couldn't. So it's just, it's addicting, and I know why some people they just get completely wrapped up in it, and next thing you know, it's been 6 hours and you've been playing, and your hips are sore, your butt's sore because you've been sitting in the same spot for hours, and it's just fun. So it's good to see, and I kind of wish there would have been some little Game Awards shows that I could have watched growing up. Like, people can just live stream all this stuff and read all this great news. It's really neat. And I think it's nice. And even though I'm not like the biggest Snapchat person, they say that the Snapchat live story for the Game Awards was seen by more than 5 million users around the world in the first 24 hours.
Wow.
So again, that is the target audience, is that age group.
I just
that
moved
demographic.
I just moved Snapchat to my front page because I'm going to try to use it.
Lord.
Yeah.
Man, do I need to log back into mine? I haven't logged in like months.
Not yet. I haven't got there yet. But now I can do this cool thing where you can add stories later. Like, you don't have to do it right there.
Yeah.
Which was the number one thing that drove me nuts about Snapchat. You had to do it on their platform first. But Instagram, I think, kind of nudged them a little bit.
Yeah, that's friendly competition, you know. It kind of spurs them to kind of one-up each other. And then users benefit from it. Yeah. Some of the nice things. So some other Microsoft news that came out this week was kind of huge.
Groundbreaking?
Yeah. That Microsoft, the PC makers, let's make some Windows 10 ARM-based PCs. So that's just talking about running like full versions of Windows on mobile devices using ARM processors, which were previously restricted to lower powered things where you couldn't install. Surface RT.
Right. I mean, or Windows Phone, like, Windows Mobile proper. This is big. Like, if you can run full Windows 10 on like, a Snapdragon 820 or whatever, this could be game changing. I mean, this is definitely headed towards the Chromebook audience.
Mm-hmm. And that's one thing they've really got to do, because Google and their Chromebooks have really taken a nice chunk out of that lower priced market, I think.
Right, and I think for some, in some ways, good reason. Like, if you don't need all the fuss of Windows, like in general, you can just get this other thing that surfs the web and plays music, and because that's all you do. Like, I totally get wanting to get a cheap device for those things. But as a company, Microsoft needs to do something about that, because that was and is kind of their thing. Like, they are known for the personal PC in a way, and they're attacking it from both ends. They have the ARM on the one end, and then they have, the new Surface Studio on the other. They're with the creatives, as it were, people like us even. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting how, the middle is, most people have a PC still. They still do work on PC. Certain things that they only do on the PC, but now they're taking it from both ends for this whole business strategy they got going on. I'm very interested in where this goes. Right. Now, basically, from my understanding, there was a post that came out, I guess it might have been yesterday, or I saw this yesterday, where they said that it was not going to be available on like 820. That's what they're using to kind of like demonstrate this. Okay, so it's a demo.
But it is going to be starting on like the Snapdragon 835.
So if I remember correctly,
this coming spring or whenever those new devices.
Surface Phone.
Exactly. So again, that kind of circles back to that. You got that spring event coming up where typically we're expecting to see Surface Pro 5, maybe a Surface 4 or Surface 5, whatever they're going to end up calling it.
This is very interesting. I can't remember a build starting in May. And this year it'll be in May.
Mm-hmm. So you kind of think maybe they will show off the hardware before Build, and then Build is the big developer conference, or maybe they'll just do it all at once.
This year they don't.
Or do the developer conference first and then have the hardware. I don't know.
I think they'll show lots of hardware this year, because according to what we do know via Mary Jo and Paul, some of the best in the industry, they have kept saying, like, I think we're on track to get new devices in the spring, and May is deep into the spring. Mm-hmm. We're getting close to summer at that point, and I feel that's like Microsoft's like mantra. Like, they wait till, we're going to have it in the fall, but that's like a week before winter, and here it is. It's still in the fall, though. We had it, and it's here.
Still in the fall, yeah. And, it's not a bad time, because that's when, seniors are graduating.
Exactly.
So you look at kind of graduation presents, or those that are getting ready to, yes, they're getting ready for summer vacation, but they're also starting to plan for freshman year of college, going back to school. And it's a good time that, so we got a couple months to get some of the bugs and the firmware issues resolved before you do go back to school in the fall.
So with Windows being on ARM now, I foresee a smaller LTE version of Surface coming back.
Yeah, I can see that.
And that would be fascinating. I really do want to see how Windows runs on ARM. Like, it just kind of blows my mind right now.
Yeah, it will be something to see. And I don't know if this is going to wake developers up to finally start developing more for the Windows platform. But again, like I've said before, if you're ignoring Microsoft as a platform with your apps, you're leaving a lot of money and users on the table. I will always say that until you guys wake up.
Absolutely. And I don't know. I really do feel that, like, I mean, how crazy would it be, like, if you could use iTunes on your Windows phone, because it's not really a phone, it's almost a desktop? Like, is that a thing that could happen?
I guess. We'll have to see how the performance and stuff goes.
Yeah, that's true.
And all that, because we know at least past versions of iTunes is not exactly a resource sipper. It's kind of a resource
hog.
Beer bong. Here, give me all your resources right now so I can run this tiny little app. It's what it is. And we love retro games here.
We do.
At the Tech Informist. I mean, we've got an NES Classic here. We've got a Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Nintendo 64, and I did mention on last episode about getting the emulators up and running on my Dell Venue 8 Pro, and I did that. I bought a controller off Amazon that's shaped like a Super Nintendo controller, and it works like a champ. So you've got something here about a tiny gaming console that can play retro games from 28 different systems.
Yeah, which I believe just went up for pre-order for $50. I don't know if that is like a full price, because I would feel like it'd be just a little more than that. Maybe it is just $50.
Yeah, let's see. So they launched an Indiegogo for the Retro Engine Sigma. And so as of this moment, with a month left, they have raised $267,274, which is 1,336% of their $20,000 goal. So
sweet.
It's going to get funded.
Absolutely.
And you can get what's called the Speedy Backer 16 gigabyte set for $59 plus shipping. And that includes the Retro Engine Sigma, an AC adapter, a dual stick analog controller, a pre-installed 16 gig micro SD card, USB micro SD card reader, and 2 more items.
And it is also not expected till about mid-2017. So, I mean, this isn't happening anytime soon, but keep an eye on it, because I have a feeling that if this is any good, because a lot of them are terrible, that this could be a hot ticket item next year for, getting close to Christmas.
Yeah, so you can get the feature thing for $59. Their first version, or first price level, was $49 to get basically what I just rattled off. The early bird set with 16 gig, and you could have got the early bird deluxe set with a 32 gig card for $69, and that comes with like 5 more items. You can also get the 16 gig set for $69 that would come out in June of 2017. Some of them were coming out in April 2017, and the $59 reward would come in at May 2017. So those first couple months of next year,
it plays Neo Geo.
Yeah. So it plays the Amstrad, the Atari 2600, the Atari 7800, Atari ST, the Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Game Gear, Lynx, MAME, MSX, Nintendo 64, Nintendo Entertainment System, Neo Geo, Neo Geo Pocket, Neo Geo Color, PC Engine, Commodore 64, PlayStation, SG-1000, Super Nintendo, 32X from Sega, Sega CD, Sega Genesis, Sega Master System, Vectrex Arcade System, and Sinclair.
It's quite a list of things.
Yeah. So HDMI out.
Yep. HDMI out.
2-player games. Wow. Plugs in USB controllers.
Okay, see, that's the part that was kind of freaking me out. Like, how is this working?
Yeah, so you can plug in any of the USB controllers that look like the Super Nintendo, or you can plug in your PlayStation, PS3 controller, or an Xbox controller, or old Sega controller with USB, and
expansion port for like 4-player kind of like, typical 64 Mario Kart or Super Smash Brothers or whatever.
Yeah, Bluetooth dongles, and so you can use retro Bluetooth controllers, which actually you can see the retro Super Nintendo controller that I bought off Amazon. That's the one that they show in that image. There on the right, not the one on the left. That one on the left looks pretty cool, though.
I was just about to say that's actually pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
All right.
So I don't know. Interesting.
I'm excited. I hope that it performs well, but I guess that remains to be seen.
All right. I mean, build quality, we know these typically are not built very quality version.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. And it's kind of shaped kind of like the original Sega Genesis, the version 1.
Yeah, it is, except silver.
Yeah, which...
like a brushed aluminum almost.
In my opinion, it looks like crap. But
I'm not a huge fan. But you know
me.
what? If you took some vinyl, like vinyl black, and like etched it out specifically for this, I mean, you could maybe color it kind of cool.
Or if you know somebody that has access to where if you took it apart and just took the plastic shell casing in and they can dip it in whatever color you want, a nice high gloss.
I know a guy. He's sitting across from you.
Said what I said. And then you could get it to look any color that you want. And that, I think, is where it would be. So if they made it available in multiple colors, that would be where this would be at.
I hope it's easy to take apart.
Yeah, that's kind of the key. But anyway, oh, God, I'm so excited for retro gaming. Love it.
It's coming back strong.
Love it. And kind of talking about retro, Samsung's Galaxy S8 might ditch the headphone jack just like Apple did.
Yeah, again, kind of just based off of rumors from what we have heard from sources of other people. But, I mean, this comes to no surprise. And, Apple does something, Samsung follows. Samsung does something, Apple follows.
Yeah, the world didn't end. I mean, obviously, we're all still alive. And that Apple got rid of the headphone jack and the iPhone. It hasn't really affected me much, maybe once or twice, where I was like, oh,
I forgot the dongle.
I wish I had my little adapter with me. But this is what it is.
Also, this is supposed to have the USB-C port, which I cannot believe that the last one did not. But whatever. It's supposed to have this one.
Again, like I said, whenever they did introduce Type-C connector on the Note 7, that's when all their big issues started happening. Whether there's a correlation there, I don't know.
So with USB-C, could you theoretically plug in to charge and listen to music at the same time? If it was wired the right way? Like the output was wired that way?
That's a good question.
Because if not, I wonder if we might see a two-sided USB-C. Like you have one on the bottom, one on top. One's for charging your phone while the other's for listening to music or whatever.
So, I mean, that's what you got to do for the iPhone. You got to get one of those little adapters that plugs into your Lightning port, and you can then plug in your power cable and old headphones.
Right. Well, I wonder because
you gotta buy an adapter.
Because Android is so versatile, if you could get 2 ports instead of having to have a dongle, you could just have 2 separate ports.
I don't know.
I don't know if that's like a thing that can work or not. I don't know. Yeah. Tell me I'm wrong.
Not exactly an engineer over here, so
nope.
It's not what my education is.
It's above my pay grade, Kevin.
I like that. Instagram users, Instagram is soon going to let you turn off comments on any post and remove followers from private accounts.
Yep, more form and function to the platform that we know and love, or at least I really love lately.
Yeah, so if you want to turn off comments, you'll have a toggle switch. Turn off comments. Yay!
This needs to be in more things.
Yeah.
I avoid comments like the plague most of the time because there's a lot of terrible people in the universe.
That's why it's on YouTube. You can turn off comments.
Yeah, and I don't know. There's enough darkness in my life that I don't need that half the time.
Yeah, you don't need the outside darkness to like really make the inside darkness even worse.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm all for this. I would still really want to see them add like a way to follow somebody, but maybe mute them so it doesn't gum up the feed of things you maybe want to look at. Like you're following them to be nice, but you don't necessarily enjoy what they share. Yeah. You know what I mean? Kind of like Twitter. Like you can follow somebody, but you could also mute them and they'll never know.
Right. It's kind of like on Facebook. You can quote unquote unfriend somebody, but still be their friend, but you ain't gonna see anything they post.
Yeah, I might have done that to a few people.
I know I have. Good God. Anyway, still friends. I tell you, the thing that I would like to see Instagram do is just, I want to see my most recent, what people have most recently posted. I don't want to open up Instagram 3 days in a row and the first picture I see is the same damn picture 3 days in a row.
I haven't had that issue.
I have that way too often.
Huh.
And I follow enough people where they're frequent enough posters that I should not see the same picture in the first or second image that I see.
Is it... So it's not like...
Cool. Yeah, this was posted 2 days ago. I know. I saw it 2 days ago.
So if you don't check into Instagram and then you come back a couple days later, it'll show something from a couple days earlier.
Mm-hmm. Even after you pull down to try to refresh your feed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
thankfully, you've been taking good pictures.
So I'm super lame, and I check Instagram every morning when I wake up.
I do too.
Every morning before I go to bed, and sometimes in between, because I really like Instagram because I'm a photo guy.
I am, but I still see the same stuff over and over again.
Huh. Interesting.
Okay, so we'll just do a little test here. I'm going to open up my iPhone and open up Instagram, and I have a feeling
open up your iPhone. What is it, a clamshell?
It could be. And I will open that up, and I guarantee... Yep, I knew I would see one of your posts. You will always be at the top of my feed.
Weird.
Yeah.
So if I
and
click
that
on my
is
Instagram,
from 16 hours ago, and I've already seen that image.
So I opened up mine, and a friend of ours from New York, I don't typically see him post too much, but he's the first one that posts up, and that's never like it. It always seems to be right in order of what, for me. I don't know if that's a setting, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just really strange. They really need to get that figured out. And it was one of the things I was most worried about when they said, "Ooh, yeah, we're going to show you what we want you to see.
Nope.
What we think you want to see."
Nope. Oh. But there is something on Instagram that you can do that I'm going to share later.
Ooh. It's kind of deep tease there, folks.
Yeah.
All right, so next up we've got something that's kind of like a kind of circling back to a story we talked about. It's been a little while about Bluetooth 5 with 4 times longer range and 2 times faster speed. It's officially approved. So it's going to be like a real thing now. Next gen Bluetooth.
Is kind of exciting. Like this encompasses like your whole house now, essentially, and your devices could all talk to themselves, like each other, not themselves. They're not sentient.
Yeah, I mean, 4 times the range, twice the speed, 8 times the broadcast message capacity. Like you said, bringing whole home coverage and more reliable connections between connected devices. But the problem is, whenever these newer devices come out with this technology, is there going to be updates for like car stereos and stuff like that, so they are compatible with this newer technology, because sometimes I have Bluetooth issues in my Chevy Cruze.
Interesting.
And we're like the other day I was driving and I stopped at Costco, got out, I was listening to the Joe Buck Lucky Bastard audiobook, went in, got what I needed to get, came back out to the car, got in, and the phone showed like it was connected, but nothing would play, no matter what. Even though I restarted the phone, restarted the radio, nothing. Like
fudge.
Exactly.
Just like Ralphie says.
Yep. Christmas Story. Fudge. So that was very frustrating. So I don't know. I don't know if there's like a software update available for this stupid MyLink radios. And why does Chevy got to make that so damn difficult to update your stereo?
Because they're the same way.
You got to take it to the dealer.
Yeah, it's the same way the carriers. Why do they bother with putting their apps on phones? I'm sorry, but I don't care.
Yeah.
Let me do my thing. Stop interfering.
Right. Let me uninstall what I don't want. Mm-hmm. Or make that stuff available during boot up. That's what I think carriers should do.
That's what I think PC makers should do.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, do you want these things? No, I don't want any of them.
All right.
Okay, we're starting up Windows.
Yeah. Uncheck and move on. And then those things aren't installed. I tell you.
Anyway.
Yeah, anyway. All right. So, man, you've actually got something in the weekend rant, which I saw earlier. I'm like, oh, this is going to be exciting. What has he got to complain about?
It's a little deceiving if you don't know what I'm talking about, but it's titled, Google, Fix Your Screenshots.
Do elaborate.
You have to know a little bit about it, and I did a little bit of digging.
Ooh.
So if you have a 4K screen on your Android device and you try to take a screenshot and send it via their own messaging platform, I think it's just called Messages.
Messages.
SMS, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, or
Text
MMS. You share it as a photo through their own messaging platform.
MMS.
Right. So when you go to do that, it turns out to be all pixelated like you're playing a Mario game on the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Looks all Atari-like?
Yeah. And I thought, what the heck? I had to send my landlord some things, and I kept trying to screenshot them, and they would not send right. They were fuzzy and weird, so I had to send them to my wife, which in turn would turn around and send them to him. Here's why. If you have a 4K screen and you take a screenshot of that 4K screen, if you were to pull that up on your computer, that thing's huge. So it can't, for whatever reason, compress the image to send to your peoples.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Google, what the heck? Most of your big devices are 4K capable.
Yeah, again.
2K something. You need to fix this. It's a problem. It's like taking a screenshot. You know, you're on Snapchat. Oh, I want to save that Snapchat. It's funny. It's whatever. You take the thing, and it's like out of World War II era if they had digital media of any kind. Mm-hmm. It looks horrible. And it's like, okay, I definitely don't have like a bottom of the barrel device. What's going on here? Well, turns out, once again, those messaging platforms are terrible at compressing photos. What I have found is Facebook Messenger is excellent at compressing them. I've had zero issues of sharing screenshots to you and others on Facebook Messenger.
Through Facebook Messenger.
But if your wife has an iPhone and you have an Android, guess what? You don't get to share very much, especially if she doesn't have Facebook, which I don't blame her.
Yeah. Yeah. Fine.
So, hey, Google, check it out.
Fix your screenshots.
Yes.
So do you think that's more of an issue of the Messenger application?
Yes.
Okay.
It doesn't have the ability to compress the 4K shot into a more usable, like a screenshot of a screenshot, if that makes any sense. Like, you know how Nokia had the 41 megapixel phone, but you could take the, in quotations, 5 megapixel shot of the 41 megapixels.
Share for social media.
Exactly.
Like
so that way it's not the raw footage and doesn't gum up the works, as it were, and look like garbage.
Like you said, those are larger files.
Yeah. So it is definitely something they need to look into, especially moving forward, because 4K is going to get more and more prevalent.
Yes, it is. We're not going backwards, folks. Technology moves forward.
Well, we might be, Kevin. It really depends what Washington decides to do.
That's true. Drain the swamp, baby. Drain the swamp. Make America great again. Assassin's Creed 3 is going to be free on the PC this month.
It is.
This month is December.
So, for those of you who do not know, Ubisoft is turning 30.
Ubi.
And because Ubisoft, I don't know.
Yeah, Ubi,
whatever.
Ubi.
All you do is you go and sign up for their club Ubisoft like profile user. Yeah, and it used to be called something else that I can't remember off the top of my head. But if you had that profile before, you're already automatically in this one. They kind of just switched your profile over. Most people sign in with their PlayStation or Xbox credentials, so it made it easier. Again, if not, just make an account. It's free. You can get free games every once in a while. I feel like they do this every year. Well, I have a couple free games, actually.
It sounds like they are offering you 7 digital PC games. Every month is a new game will be revealed and free to download. Then it is yours to keep. Hurry up, the game is available for a limited time. Just register here with your Ubisoft account.
Yeah, I think even last month on Xbox and their own platform was Blood Dragon, which I had gotten free through one of my graphics card promos. Mm-hmm. So I'd already had it, but you could also get that free as well. And then this month it's Assassin's Creed 3, which it's a weird one in some ways, but in other ways it's really neat because I can't really think of too many games that do the Revolutionary War, especially in the light that they shine it in. So take it as a caveat. If you do like the Assassin's Creed games and you haven't played 3, it starts very weird and it takes them a little while to get going, but once you're where you need to be in the game, it's very fun to explore. I don't want to give away too much because there is a little bit of a reveal that kind of blows your mind. Yeah.
Yeah, don't give away any spoilers for a multi-year-old game.
Oh, right. Yeah, that would be terrible, Kevin.
Whatever you do, don't spoil the ending to the movie Titanic.
Spoilers, Mario saves the princess if you're good enough.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, I mean, logging in is not taking too long at all, especially if you've already got an account. I'm making one now.
Now, the first day this was available, their servers were pretty loaded up, so I came back that and following, it was later that night, hashtag into the morning. I don't know why I said hashtag, but I guess I'm in that kind of mood.
Nah, it sounds like it.
But I got on at 3 in the morning and started downloading, and it downloaded pretty fast. So
yeah, I mean, I just set up my thing now, and somehow I'm already level 2. So
I'm level 28, and that's because I play a lot of Ubisoft games. And I mean, I just got done actually beating Watch Dogs, which, by the way, they are so forward thinking on that game. There are things happening in that game that could and or about to happen in real life, and it's kind of mind blowing. That game was. I don't want to say it's my game of the year, but it's pretty darn close. I still say Inside is my game of the year. But yeah, wow, what a game. That game will give you hours of fun. I only have 5 achievements left on it. I'm getting close. I might put it down just because that'll give me incentive to come back and finish it, because I really do legitimately like that game. But
yeah, hopefully they'll have some good DLC.
That's what I'm going to wait and see what kind of DLC comes out and kind of judge it by that. Because the first Watch Dogs DLC actually liked more than the original game, which I did not think was going to be a thing.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
And you also went and saw a movie this last weekend at the Moolah Theater here in the St. Louis area.
Yeah, what is really amazing about the Moolah Theater, if you're, enjoy adult beverages.
What?
They do mixed drinks based off of what they're showing. So we watched Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and they did a butterbeer, an alcoholic butterbeer.
Wow!
Oh my God, it was delicious. And we accidentally got 2, and what I mean by that is we had only ordered the one because we had a fun day, as it were, and maybe you should hold off. But Sarah had got one and set her drink down on the table next to the couple next to us. And as he was putting his popcorn down, it spilled into her drink. So they're like, oh my God, we're so sorry. She's like, oh no, it's fine. He'll make me a new one. So she went up to the bar, made her a new one, came back with a brand new, fresh butterbeer and polished that off too. So
Wow.
yeah, so that was kind of cool.
Guys.
Totally by accident, but hey, I'll take it.
Right.
But Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I don't feel like enough people talk about this movie because maybe they were expecting Harry Potter again. Mm-hmm. But it is not that. Like, it is trying to be its own thing, and I absolutely appreciate that. The acting, everyone they have chosen, from what I felt and saw while watching the movie, was just, well, for lack of better terms, fantastic. But yeah, it really was a good movie. It had a great storyline. The characters were great. There was a lot of character building, which a lot of movies forget to do sometimes.
And this is from J.K. Rowling, correct?
Yes. This is supposed to happen like 70 years before Harry Potter.
Okay.
So these are like their prequels, but they're their own.
Here we go.
But they're their own story. Like, they're not a prequel to Harry Potter. Like, they're a prequel to the universe, and I like that.
So it's not like you're meeting
Harry Potter is like,
or no, you're not meeting like
his dad,
Dumbledore, as a kindergartner or something like that,
right? Or you're not meeting
a young apprentice.
Darth Vader as a kid kind of thing. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, bring that back.
Right. But it's doing its own thing. I'm very excited to see where it goes, further. Mm-hmm. The main character, I don't really know what he's from, but he was fantastic. He was really good.
So what would you rate it?
Oh, that is a very good question.
Yes, it is.
I can't say solid 9, but I can't say it's in between an 8.5 and a 9 for me. It was really good.
Okay. So definitely something you would recommend for people that like that genre.
If you are into Harry Potter and you feel you know them front and back, you will feel absolutely at home watching this. They are subtle hints of names of people and or characters that get dropped occasionally, or you'll see a thing and you'll be like, I know what that is.
Yeah, I still can't mention his name.
But so absolutely go see that, please, because I want them to make more.
Oh, they're going to make more.
No, I know. I probably don't have to worry about that.
No, you don't have to worry about that. So Microsoft Authenticator, Android, iOS, and Windows 10 Mobile.
If you have a Microsoft account, you need Microsoft Authenticator. Why? Well, because the holidays are coming up and people get hacked, and you don't want to be that guy. So do yourself a favor, get two-step authentication. The easiest way to two-step authenticate something where as soon as it gets a query of, hey, I need the number to do this, all you do is you open up your phone, click approve, you're done. You don't have to, oh, wait, what was that 6 numbers again? I can't remember. It was 987543. Oh, no, wait, it's 513. I can't remember. Like, none of that. It's just open up, approve, done.
Yeah, I like whenever the companies, you go to log into something, we need to send you a text and enter the number that we give you in a text. That's nice.
What's nice about Android, and this is what JJ was telling me right when he switched, all these apps talk to themselves. So you'll get a company that'll send you a text and it'll recognize that they were sending you a text for this other thing and it just logs you in. I really do like that about Android, I will say. But if you don't have that, Microsoft Authenticator is for iOS, Android, and guess what? Windows 10 Mobile.
Oh my gosh, Microsoft would have an app on their own platform. Amazing. Who would have thought?
Yeah, imagine that. Yeah. But so I highly recommend this, and I believe that you can add other authentications for that app. I don't know if they will work the same, but I know for a fact that Microsoft's does, because that is the sole app that I use for my Microsoft sign-in.
Okay. All right. And we've kind of touched on Instagram a little while ago, but you've got something else in here too about get your 2016 best 9 images on Instagram.
So the way this works is basically you go to 2016, the numbers, best9 spelled out, .com, and you type in your Instagram ID. It shows up 9 photos of your most liked. It's most liked photos. It's not necessarily your best or, best artistic. They're not really the same.
Yeah, it's like your most liked.
Right.
Or most interacted.
Exactly. And so I went ahead and did this, and it was kind of cool, what had happened is I was watching a lot of celebrities do this, and I was like, whoa, where do you get this? And turns out New York Times talked about it, so I clicked on the link and it brought me here. So it's kind of cool to visit and see what stuff got the most traction and why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like looking at mine, there's 3 images of when basically the day that I got the NES Classic. Mm-hmm. And then in the middle row, there's 3 images of me, one with me and my wife. 2 of them are from the same night when we did Painting with a Twist a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
Then there's an image of when I got the iPhone 7 Plus, one of my cat Ginger, and then one of Citywide, one of my favorite beers currently.
So my most liked, and to this day still is actually I did a little not side by side. It was like a split photo so I could show the whole, because my tattoo wraps around my arm. So I was showing kind of the front and the back of it, and I think that's only 30-something likes. Mm-hmm. But that was my most liked of all time so far. And after that, I have SpaceX, which I just visited. I have the Super NES controller when we were playing Mario the one day. Then I have me at Best Buy getting my Gears console. Then I have a Photoshop one that I did of it's kind of a mashup between Metroid and X-Files, and basically it's just me commenting on Nintendo, how I want to believe that there will be a new Metroid game because I don't know. Then the next one after that is me and Sarah on the beach, and then a local brewery in the Illinois side in my hometown, in Waterloo, Illinois, Stubborn German. Then a Prism one that I did of Gears of War. Oh, go figure, another Gears of War. And lastly was the Pumpkin and Oktoberfest from Schlafly.
Nice.
But yeah, it's really cool. And then after you do yours, share it out to everyone else. Put the hashtag 2016 Best 9 just like it appears in the I keep bumping the mic. Goodness. Yeah. Don't know if you guys can hear that. Just like in the URL, 2016best9.com. And that's 9 spelled out.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting stuff. Just kind of, we're coming up on the end of the year. Everybody's doing the recap of the year, and it's about time for award shows and
at some point today, I'm going to take what I think are my most artistic shots and put them in a 9 grid,
a little collage,
like a remixed version of the Best 9, and I'm going to post that at some point over the weekend. So
nice. Alrighty then. And then let's see.
Time for me to stop talking.
I get to talk. All right. So Super Mario Run, we've talked about it before. It's coming out on the iPhone on December 15th.
And somebody got to play it.
All right. 3 free levels when it does launch, and then you can spend $10 to purchase the full game. You can go now and play it at your local Apple store for free to just try out a couple levels. I'm not sure really how long you can play. I only played a couple levels. I'm like, okay, I need to go do what I needed to go do. But man, it's fun. It's very smooth, and I'm really looking forward to getting it next week.
If you are used to a Nintendo game and the quality that Nintendo brings to the table, this is worth every penny.
Yeah, it's going to be something I just, no doubt, just buy. Mm-hmm. So that's great. And then it'll come out on Android. I don't know what the exclusive time frame will be, but it'll be available on Android as well.
Yeah, I'm in no hurry. I'm not a mobile gamer per se, but I would definitely will buy it.
Yeah, so kind of the other news that's coming out today about Super Mario Run cannot be played offline, and Miyamoto says that it's a decision taken to help stop piracy. So you might be wondering, well, what does it need an internet connection for in the first place? Well, it's got to keep up with your progress, because if something happens to your phone, your save is saved into your
online
iCloud
profile kind of thing.
To your Apple cloud account, or same thing's going to be with Android, it's going to be saved to your Google Play account. So it's kind of like Transformers Earth Wars. If I decide to uninstall the app on my Nexus 6P and then reinstall the app, I don't lose any progress because it's not stored on the device. It's stored and synced to the cloud.
I get that, but that means two things. Number one, I can't play it, on an airplane in the air unless I buy Wi-Fi, which no. Number two, for those of us who with limited data, in the same vein as Pokemon Go, needs to maybe watch how much they play, depending on how much it sips or glugs. Mm-hmm. Because we don't know yet. It hasn't been in the wild. So I guess that remains to be seen. So I don't know. I'm just kind of interested in how much it uses. Especially if you're somebody who will sit down and play a decent amount of it.
Mm-hmm. So Miyamoto also said that one of the reasons why they went with iOS first was because of Apple being perceived as the more secure platform.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I have no issues with them wanting to do an exclusivity for a little while. And maybe we get to a world where maybe they only do stuff on Apple. I don't know. But, if that's the case and Metroid comes out, I'm switching to iPhone. Just saying. But, yeah. So, it looks fun, and regardless, I'm still going to buy it. Yep, same.
Don't matter. Saving up forward to it.
Saving up my points.
Yeah, that's the thing. Even right now, I've got almost $12 in Google Play just from doing the rewards. So again, if you're not doing the rewards thing and the Google Opinions or whatever it's called,
you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, you're really missing out. So anyway, one last thing I got two more things here. Recently, over this last weekend, I watched the Netflix comedy special from Dana Carvey called Straight White Male. And it's funny. Dana Carvey, we all know him from Saturday Night Live, Church Lady, and numerous other people playing Garth from Wayne's World, and it's really funny.
So, okay.
So he does a lot of voices, impersonations. He does a really great one of George W. Bush.
I just listened to him on The Nerdist.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
He is. He's really funny. And as a Beatles fan, you have to listen to the last bit of that almost hour-long special. It's fantastic. It's him impersonating Paul McCartney talking to John Lennon in modern day, like John is communicating from the great beyond. It's hilarious. Paul's trying to fill John in on what's going on in the year 2016.
All right.
I love it. I'm like, that's great.
I probably will watch that tonight.
It's great. I really enjoy it. So
again, I've been into comedy a lot more, especially since the election.
Yeah.
It's
like I have nothing left. I just gotta laugh.
Even before and after. Like, I'm not saying one way or the other, but I just am into more comedy now.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. We all love a good laugh.
And a good beer.
Yes, but I've got one more thing I want to talk about. Just very briefly, I used the Spark email client on iOS for a while, and then I switched to Outlook, which I have since switched to Gmail, because Gmail finally updated after a couple years. So,
oh, goodness.
Yeah, it took quite a while for Google to update the Gmail email client on iPhone. So on the Mac, I went ahead and installed Spark on the Mac and set it all up with my numerous accounts. And I really like it, because one of the things that was kind of bothering me on the Mac mail client was sometimes if, because you get a whole bunch of emails and it's just newsletters from businesses. So you just didn't delete. And sometimes the timeline would kind of jump around and
it'd skip or something.
It would skip, and I don't want to delete something that I don't want to delete, even though I can always undo, but still that's kind of a problem. So with Spark Client, I don't have to worry about that.
Nice.
It, quote unquote, just works.
Yeah. So you use Spark for your Mac and you use Gmail for your iPhone.
Yeah, because Google doesn't have a Mac OS Gmail client.
I wonder why.
there's really not a whole bunch of good apps really on Mac OS.
Right.
To be honest. I don't understand that. But
which is kind of a little hilarious because Windows Phone has more apps than the Mac.
Yes.
So what's going on there?
That I don't understand why developers don't really develop for the Mac, but do whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Again, I don't think I'll ever understand developers and why they do or don't develop for certain platforms,
especially how I say this without any knowledge of developing.
First-hand experience.
But what I'm trying to say is with the tools we have available.
Visual Studio, Xamarin, develop once.
Yep.
Push it out for all three.
Yep.
Done. Anyway, that's just, again, a non-first-hand experience perspective. And that's what this show is about. Our perspective and thoughts on certain situations.
Yep.
Feel free to disagree by letting us know. Let us hear from you. Ding, insert the tone. All right, time for beer picks of the week. And really, there's only a pick of the week. And
but it is
yours.
It's a good one. So, and I don't mean good as in like the most amazing thing you'll ever try, but it is very, very unique. And it kind of brings a smile to your face when they serve that beer up draft and bring it to the table. So it's called Red Velvet. And it's by Ballast Point Brewing, which they have been doing a lot of interesting stuff lately. Sculpin Grapefruit IPA, I think most recently, was the one that really grabbed my attention, and so on and so on. Like they just have been doing some great stuff recently. But this is considered a stout, even though when they bring it to the table, it is blood red. And the name is Red Velvet. So you would think, hey, like the cake? And I would say, yes. If it's poured perfectly, they'll have a little white head like the icing on the red velvet cake. And then as soon as it goes to your nose, like it smells like that icing they use, that buttercream icing. And when you taste it, it has that cake aftertaste. Oh, man. Really interesting. It's not overpowering cake, but it definitely is there. But apparently the color is due to beets that they use in the brew process.
Couldn't imagine a beer with beets, but
it doesn't exist in the flavor profile at all. It does not exist.
Like eating dirt.
Right, but again, they serve it up in a glass. It's kind of like liquid cake in a glass. It's interesting. It's very unique, and I mean, I can't recommend trying it more enough. 33 IBUs, kind of on the low side, which is fine because it's a cake. 5.3 ABV. So,
sweet treat.
Yeah, it's a nice little sweet treat. I had it last Saturday.
Out of the just over 3,800 ratings, it's got a comprehensive rating of 3.82. So
yeah.
I would say people like it.
Yeah. So definitely check that out. Because I like red velvet cake. I don't know about you.
Oh, I do too. It's pretty darn fantastic. And I do see in an image that Ballast Point Brewing and Spirits also has a limited release. I don't know where. It's just like a line of taps shown. They've got one called Boob Check. I don't know what that would be, but anyway.
That's funny.
Yeah. It just reminds me of the most recent episode of The Goldbergs where Adam is arguing with his older brother Barry something because they're like having a disagreement on, well, you can't like this because I like this, and so Barry's going through this list of things like, and then he mentions boobs. You can't like boobs anymore, and Adam's like, what? Everybody likes boobs. It's just funny.
Isn't November the cancer awareness for breast cancer, or is it December? One of the months. I think that's what that's for.
I don't know. Probably.
It makes sense to me.
Breast cancer awareness.
Yeah.
Which would make sense. But this person had shared the image 13 hours ago, so apparently it's available
still
somewhere.
On tap, yeah.
Yeah. And so he checked it in at Cornerstone Kitchen and Tap, which is located in Jackson, New Jersey. So if you live near Jackson, New Jersey, go to Cornerstone Kitchen and Tap, and you can get Boob Check from Ballast Point Brewing and Spirits.
Or you can also check your Untapped listings on what's well,
where it might be. Yeah.
Or Tap Hunter. Tap Hunter is a good way to check on what's on tap too.
Yeah. And then they got a cinnamon raisin Commodore. So there's so many different flavors that I'd love to try.
And they have a pineapple sculpin.
Exactly, because you're probably looking at the same image I'm looking at right now. And then a mango even keel. See, this is why, I mean, I can understand why some people would be considered an alcoholic, because they're trying so many different beers. An alcoholic that just wants to drink like one beer.
Speaking of,
ever just drinking one beer?
I am officially
an alcoholic.
Well, maybe. I guess that's perspective.
Perspective, yes.
Oh, it's not going to load. Last I checked, I believe I'm about 17 away from 1,000.
Wow. So 1,000 different beers that you have.
1,000 unique beers, as in different kinds, as in... Because like check-ins overall, I'm at 1679. So that's... Since I had the app back in 2010...
Yeah, so it's not like you've just made this a mission in 2016 to drink 1,000 distinct beers.
Oh, God, no. I'd be dead.
No, you'd be fine. I would only average out to like 3 beers a day.
Okay.
That's not bad. You can do that. You can do that while your eyes
My
closed.
wallet is already crying thinking about it.
That's okay. And just one other beer-related tip. I did see a news headline yesterday that Anheuser-Busch is going to have a Busch commercial be prominent in the Super Bowl for the first time in ever, other than
guilty
just
pleasure.
Budweiser.
Busch Copper Lager, not so bad.
Not bad.
High in alcohol, delicious amber taste, not so bad.
Yeah. Regular Busch, negative Ghost Rider.
Yeah, just, nah. Yeah.
Yeah, no thanks, I'm good. Do you have a glass of water?
Beer-flavored water. Oh, you mean Bud Light?
I can't. We're going to be called beer snobs.
Well, we are.
I know. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Tech Informist. Again, 155. And my name, again, is Kevin Harvell. That was Brad Whiteside that you also heard over there. And we've enjoyed bringing this episode to you and like to hear from you. There's multiple different ways to do that. You can leave us a message, 314-529-1998. Again, 314-529-1998. Hit us up on Twitter at Kevin Harvell with 2 L's or at holy_shadows, or email us contact@thetechinformist.com. That pretty much does it for me. Unless you got any last words.
Instagram. I'll be very prevalent there.
Yeah, he does do a lot on Instagram. Obviously, because that's the first thing I see every time that I open up the Instagram app.
Huh.
Anyway, consider yourself informed. We're out.
Donuts!